they're getting rid of all the volume discounting. So the way it was always structured, you had level A, level B, level C, level D. Everyone who's listening is very familiar with those terminologies. Each tier, once you clip a volume, right? So when you go from A, you clip into 2,400 users, you go into B. When you clip into 6,000 users, you go into C. And when you get to 15,000 plus, you're in level D. And each tier came with a programmatic volume discount.
Welcome to Insights for IT Negotiations, a podcast by Upper Edge, a leading IT sourcing, negotiation, and project execution advisory firm. I'm John Belden, Upper Edge's Chief Research and Strategy Officer.
And I'm Kylie Chisholm, Upper Edge's Marketing Manager. Join us every other week as we share insights to help you maximize the value of your key IT relationships. In each episode, we'll delve into the topics that matter most to IT decision makers and sourcing professionals.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Insights for IT Negotiation podcast. I am joined today by one of our expert advisors here at Upper Edge, Adam Mansfield. Adam, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Well. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, thanks. Adam leads, if you're not familiar, if you haven't listened to the show before, Adam leads our Microsoft, our Salesforce, and our ServiceNow practices. But today we are diving all in on Microsoft. Microsoft had a huge announcement recently. We've put out some content already on it. It's related to EA volume discounting. So I think we should just dive right in because there's a lot to unpack here. So can you start by telling us what the announcement was?
Yeah, so it was a bombshell, I think, if we want to get kind of cute with it. But I would tell you, so here's the net of it. Microsoft, as most customers know that have been under an EA forever, has made the decision that starting November 1st, anyone who's an EA customer, which again is pretty much the vast majority of enterprise customers that are out there.
Yeah.
Right? Customers we work with, customers that listen to this, they're getting rid of all the volume discounting. So the way it was always structured, you had level A, level B, level C, level D. Everyone who's listening is very familiar with those terminologies. Each tier, once you clip a volume, right? So when you go from A, you clip into 2,400 users, you go into B. Mm-hmm. When you clip into 6,000 users, you go into C. And when you get to 15,000 plus, you're in level D. And each tier came with a programmatic volume discount. Mm-hmm. 6% when you get to B, 9% when you get to C, 12% when you get to D, rough, right? Mm-hmm. So what Microsoft said under the guise of consistency in pricing, not calling it what it really is, they said, yep, that's gone. So there is no like programmatic volume. You have more users, you get better discounting right out of the gate. It doesn't exist after November 1st. So that's the announcement. I guess other key things, it touches online services, but that's pretty much everything everyone uses. So online services is Microsoft 365, Dynamics 365, Fabric, Power BI, like anything in the cloud subscription world is covered by this. Yeah. On-premise products, SQL, Windows Server, System Center, like old school on-premise brick and mortar, those aren't being touched. But quite honestly, that's not really where product and spend is going. Yeah. Government education is excluded. No, I think everyone knows this by now. Like that's not really our sweet spot. Do we do government deals? Do we do education? Of course. But they're protected, I guess is probably a good word to use it. Yeah. And yeah, I think I said it, November 1st. Yeah. So, right, 2.5 months from now?
And it's definitely, as we've been learning more about this, as I've learned from you about this, it is not lost on me that it's all of the stuff that they're currently really, really pushing that's being affected by this. And to your point, the stuff that they're not is not.
Yeah, and it's actually interesting you just said it the way you said it, because I think it's exactly right. Like, if you're in this space at all, Microsoft EA volume discounting, like everyone knows what that's like a thing. right?
Yeah.
That's not like, oh, I need to be an expert to understand that exists. Like everyone understands it exists.
Yeah.
So, the implications, which I know we're going to talk about, are massive, but just purely from a, wait, what? I know what that is. I heard about that. Like that's what's going on right now.
So I know you talk, and you've mentioned this, you talk with a lot of Microsoft customers, including very senior people at these very large enterprises. I'm curious what their reaction has been. I think I can guess what their reaction has been, but tell us what they've been telling you.
Yeah. So, I don't think we can filter what maybe we do have the ability to filter it. So I can't really share exactly what I've been told by
direct quotes.
But generally speaking, there's not a lot of kind words.
Sure.
Okay. Most are saying something along the lines of, yeah, listen, Adam, I get it, but I'm not suggesting we got to prepare. I understand all of it, right? But let them try it. Mm-hmm. I would love them to try to present a proposal to me when my renewal comes up. And this particular customer, I literally talked to last night. Their renewal, I think, is June of next year. So this will implicate them. They have about 150,000 users of Microsoft 365 E3. I mean, I'm not going to give away the pricing and things like that, but they have the volume discount, the 12%, and then we help them negotiate a pretty hefty additional discount on top of that.
Sure.
If you just think about this, in his mind, he's like, yeah, what are they going to do? They're going to take all that discount and uplift my price on my biggest product that drives my biggest amount of my spend, 150,000. Are they out of their mind? They would never do that, Adam. There's no way. And I said, I get it. I understand it. You're a big fish. I get it. But can they do it? Yes. Yeah. Will they do it? They might. They probably will. And then there's all different size customers. They're going to do this. Mm-hmm. They're not stupid. So the other feedback, once I kind of get through the emotional part of our conversations, usually it goes to, all right, well, now what I'm going to do, even if they don't play it or play the card, I'm going to start thinking about all the areas that I can inflict pain back on them. So, as an example, a lot of customers, they have support, unified support, which is a percentage of the net spend of the products. So a lot of these customers, and we've talked about this, are already, am I getting the full value? It's pretty expensive. They're already considering third-party alternatives. Yeah. That's the one immediately that comes up. All right, cool. I will now move off. Yeah. So if my product spend goes up ridiculous amounts, that means my support spend is going to go up because it's a percentage of the net. So if they want to do that, I'm out. Yeah. Azure. Okay, well, I've set myself up into a hybrid cloud environment where I actually have relationships with GCP and AWS or one or the other or both. And workloads, I'm pretty sure I could probably migrate some of my workloads, i.e. lower my Azure commitment and give it to one of their competitors. Dynamics 365. I mean, there's competing options. Salesforce is pretty desperate right now. I'm sure they would love to have some of our business. They keep talking about Power BI. They keep talking about, Power BI Premium. They talk about Fabric, other things we have. All right, cool. There's alternatives to that too. By the way, one of them is desperate Salesforce because they have Tableau. So I'll start thinking about considering that. Maybe I can't do these things by June or whenever that immediate, right? I need time. That's cool. I'll figure it out. They want to do this to me, that the magnitude of that impact is going to allow me to go to the C-suite, go to the line of business executives that normally would push back, and I'm going to get their attention. Guys, I get it. There's going to be change management. I'm talking about moving things. I understand it, and you guys maybe not want to do that. But Microsoft is asking us, there are millions and millions of cost increase. Yeah. So now more than ever, I'm going to get their attention, get their buy-in. Not easy, but I will. And I'll start working those channels. On top of it, the third thing is, the third thing that I commonly hear is it's like, okay, listen, you want me to move to E5. You want me to do more Copilot, Microsoft 365 Copilot, Copilot Studio, Copilot, AI. Nope. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it. Like, that's the new. I'm not giving you new. What are you, out of your mind?
Yeah.
So those are kind of, that's the immediate reaction. And then again, the more I talk to them, which I'm sure we're going to talk about, we're going to get to a place where, okay, how do we still now prepare? Like, okay, Adam, like, let's talk. Let's get a call scheduled. Let's talk to your team. Like, let's start talking about how we can actually prepare, because I know we still got to do a renewal.
It's funny. I know we joke a lot about how you often act as a therapist. That's like an unforeseen part of your job. And I can only imagine how much that has come into play in the last week.
I mean, I don't know if I can show this, but if I was to show you this is my phone here. If I was to look through my text messaging, some of the emojis that were used, some of the very brief texts I got are pretty, somewhat humorous, but yeah, it's 100% right. I mean, it's a great way to look at it. Like, there is absolutely a therapeutic component to this.
Yeah.
But listen, the bottom line is, and we talked about this, Microsoft knows what they're doing. Depending on what day it is, they're the biggest company in the world, not technology company, the biggest.
Yeah.
So they're not stupid. They know that this was going to create this type of reaction. And part of it is, and look, I've been talking about this, was, whether it's some of the reporters or whatever it may be, this is also about testing the waters.
Sure.
That's part of it. Shouldn't be, but it's part of the game. They knew it was going to catch fire. If you go and look at their blog post, the announcement, it's like 12 sentences. It's very generic. They don't even talk about volume discount. They talk about pricing consistency. It's very matter of fact. There's not a lot of spotlights on it by them, by everyone else. Mm-hmm. So that's all intentional. It's all intentional. There's no way they were like, oh yeah, like this is going to be fly right under the radar. No one's going to care. Like, that's not, there's no way they thought that.
Did you know that UpperEdge offers subscription advisory services? This on-demand solution provides essential benchmarks and market insights specific to your business needs precisely when you need it, empowering you and your team to make informed decisions for your IT initiatives. Position your team for success. Reach out today via the link in the show notes to learn more.
So now getting into, you talked about how, there's things that customers can be doing right now. Once the smoke clears a little bit, once they have that emotional side of things, which is valid, what should they be doing right now to prepare? Yeah,
I mean, so the very, very first thing is, and again, this is where, I am fortunate I get to talk to these executives in a very candid way, but it's also telling their team, especially when they get buy-in on this, it's to literally have a request put in to have that executive level conversation. Mm-hmm. So I don't care if the renewal's a year and a half from now, 2 years from now, you just did your renewal, it's 6 months, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
The very first thing is executive sponsor to executive sponsor. I would like to have a conversation about the update. That's the agenda. And I believe that these executives need to be very direct.
Yeah.
Right? Listen, I heard about this announcement. I need your support, and I need you to understand that if this is what my initial proposal is going to have in it, it's going to be very problematic. So put the marker down.
Yeah.
Right? I'm a big believer in having conversations, relationship. Have the conversation. Put how you feel out there. Send an email afterwards, because it's a lot harder, or creates more of a problematic decision they have to make if a conversation took place. So conversation happens, and let's say it's 9 months, and now it's time for that first proposal. If the first proposal still has a 60% price uplift, it's going to be risky, because it's like, hey, do you remember we talked about this? Like, you literally made this decision after I told you what not to do.
Yeah.
That's like, set the stage. Second thing, this has always been a thing. You and I specifically have talked about this a lot.
Yeah.
To the point where I probably annoyed you with it. But what I would tell you is that you have to now, more than ever, go as deep as possible on your utilization. You have to arm yourself with granular, how I'm using, what I'm not using, future use profile and potential, deep.
Yeah.
One, it helps you with leverage. So let me get this straight. Not only do you know that I'm only using 25% of E3, but you're going to hit me with a 40% price uplift, like, get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't have that conversation without the details. Second, it ties to alternatives.
Yeah.
Now, some of you may not have time, or they may not have time to do it perfectly for the next renewal. Some do. Figure out where and what you could actually move off of.
Yeah.
Figure out where you might be able to do some reductions through optimization.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out where you may be able to, instead of going down a path with Microsoft for a new piece of functionality, give that business to someone else.
Yeah.
Like, arm yourself with all of that.
Yeah.
I think the other piece, the last thing I would say is unified messaging is always going to be important. It always is, but now more than ever.
Yeah.
Like, everyone needs to be on message.
Yeah.
CIO's upset. Line of business needs to be upset. Procurement needs to be upset. They all need to have the same focus.
Yeah.
Especially when you talk about Microsoft with all the different products and all the different things that are touching and being used by.
And, you know, back to the utilization, we talk about it a lot, but for such good reason. Like, it really is such an important lever that customers need to be pulling. And then I also think it's interesting that you bring up that it's really useful when it comes to evaluating alternatives. That's like what's a little bit different in another sort of benefit of doing it for this specific instance, is it's going to allow you to properly evaluate and figure out where you can make Microsoft sweat a little bit because they have a competitor.
Well, and it's interesting, and it's 100% right. And to piggyback up on that a little bit, we haven't talked about this yet, but you know, the other part to this is those alternatives, they're probably looking at this like, thank you, Microsoft.
Yeah.
Because now we're going to come in and we're going to start our pitch.
Yeah.
Right? And so if you do this the right way, you can also negotiate very effectively with them who want to really seize the day.
Yeah.
Show them how they can seize it.
Yeah.
Then it becomes even more real. Then it becomes even more viable. And then it becomes the storyboard of, hey, Microsoft, you may be thinking we're bluffing.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I now can do, and here's what I've built.
Yeah.
As a possibility.
And like you said, Salesforce is a viable competitor in this case, and you can help with either of them.
Yeah,
so
100%. I mean, that is funny. I mean, it's funny you said that. Like, I mean, 100%. In Salesforce, you know, single-digit revenue growth. They love, Benioff loves talking about taking market share.
Yeah.
You know, accelerating revenue growth. I mean, it's massive, right? And so that's, I mean, that's a no-brainer. But then you have so many other pieces to this puzzle too, in vendors that are going to be hungry.
And then, so you started to talk a little bit about this, but looking at the bigger picture for those that have renewals a bit further away, what else should they be doing right now and start doing to prepare?
I think another thing that we haven't really talked about that definitely falls into this is there are customers, right? So if I think about the motivations behind all this, so there's the obvious ones. The reason we haven't talked about this a lot because it's just obvious. If you uplift and hit massive price increases on people's spend, per unit spend, that increases the average revenue per user, the ARPU, which is what they announced during the earnings calls. So spike on that. Market loves it. Financial community loves it. That drives the annual ACV growth dramatically. Market loves it. Financial community loves it. It helps with margins. Financial and market love that, right? So there's that.
Yeah.
The other thing is it's all about, hey, the gamesmanship, right? Maybe I could do something with that massive price increase if you can give me something that I really want, right? Like there's a game to it. Third one, which is relevant to where planning. And I think especially with some of the kind of smaller air quote customers, you know, the level B, A, B, C. A lot of this has to do with, since they've removed the volume discounting, which is one of the benefits of staying in an EA, With that gone, things like a CSP model become more interesting. So CSP or third party, buy it through them. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the pros and cons. We'll actually be talking about that in an upcoming webinar, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But I could see a lot of customers thinking about the CSP. And so in terms of preparation, I would be bringing in CSP, cloud solution providers who can sell you the products, more flexible model, payment term flexibility, allow them to provide discounting that they may be able to afford you. I would bring in CSPs, right? So maybe you just get rid of your EA, you move that business so it's direct to a CSP. And here's the thing, if you give yourself enough time, like we talked about, the product alternatives are going to be hungry. The CSPs are going to want to grab this business too, right? Because they're looking at it going, thanks, Microsoft. Now EA isn't as an interest. Maybe I can go take that business. So they're going to all have their own quotas because there's a lot of CSPs. So this CSP is competing against this CSP in a market where they have to get business. So what I would do is I would give yourself time to bring in 2, 3, however many you want, have them come in and compete for the business. What will you give me? What workshops will you give me for free? What will you do for me? What's the benefit? And then you negotiate with them while you're preparing for your EA. So then when it comes time to negotiate the renewal, you can literally be like, thanks, Microsoft. I'm going to do it through a CSP model. And thank you, 3 CSPs. I'm picking CSP number 2. Bachelor number 2, I pick you. And but give yourself the time, right? That's not, but you got to give yourself time to do that. But they will come a-calling if you give them the opportunity.
And that's something that we talk about with renewals is you need to give yourself that time in that runway, even without a big announcement like this. So now with this in the mix, you really need to give yourself more time than you think
100%
in that runway to work with.
100%.
Well, thank you, Adam. This was a really helpful conversation. It helped me wrap my head around this announcement. So hopefully it did the same for our listeners. And we also have a Microsoft webinar coming up very soon where we're going to dive into this specifically and then how that affects your broader Microsoft strategy. So that's a place where our listeners can get more of a live deep dive on the topic and on just general Microsoft negotiation tactics from there. And we also have a lot of content on this topic. I know you were quoted recently. We have some blogs. We have a video. So I'll make sure to link all of that as well as a link to register for the webinar below. So that way people can really read up on this and be experts and surprise Microsoft with how much they know.
Yeah, I know. It's awesome. And, through that webinar, like I'm going to be bringing in a key guy, my right-hand man on Microsoft deals. And, he's going to have a lot of additional, not just about the news, but some of that implication. So I talked about the CSP. There's also something called an MCA contract structure that Microsoft has. So we're going to go deep into kind of the contracting models too, which is, something we don't always spend a lot of time on, but at least in content, but we're going to make sure we bring that because it is integral to this whole thought process and what customers need to think about.
And I'll be there, so I'm looking forward to it.
Wow, that'll be good. All
right, well, thank you so much, Adam, and thank you to everyone for listening.
Thank you for listening to Insights for IT Negotiations. This episode was hosted by John Belden and Kylie Chisholm and produced by Mike Brown. Be sure to subscribe to the show wherever you listen to podcasts so you never miss a new episode. For more information on IT sourcing and risk management strategies, visit upperedge.com and subscribe to our monthly Upper Edge newsletter. Thank you for listening.